Good day everyone, I am Brittany Baina. So let's continue our topic last Monday, which is the instructional design theory. So we ended our discussion about the two major components of instructional design theory, which are the methods of instruction and instructional situation. So let's proceed to the three largest movements where instructional design theory are anchored. So first, there is behaviorism. So behaviorism is a psychological approach posits that all behaviors are acquired through conditioning, influenced by an individual's interactions with their environment. So behaviorists emphasize that the importance of the arrangement of stimuli or and consequences within the environment and the use of cues and reinforcement to facilitate the linking of the stimulus response pairs. So meaning, behaviorism is the idea that people learn through experience and their environment. It says that behavior is shaped by rewards and consequences. So, learning happens through conditioning, meaning we learn by reacting to things around us. So, for example, sa klase, naka-answer ang bata og tama, like nangutana si teacher og 1 plus 1, tapos ni-answer siya din tama ihang tubag. So tungod ato gitagaan siya sticker. So sa katong situation, makahuna-huna siya nga pag maka-answer ko na ako'y sticker, tagaan ko ni ma'am. So reinforcement makes behaviors stronger. So, if an action gets a reward, we do it more often. So, like atong example na ganina, di ba gitagaan siya sticker kay naka-answer siya. So, nakabutang na to sa iyang utok nga, ay, pag magsige di ay kog answer, makadawat ko og sticker. So, magsige na to siya og answer kay every time nga makatubag siya tama, mais makakuha siya sticker which is ginahatag sa ihang maestra pag tama ang tubag. So, punishment reduces certain behaviors. So, meaning, if an action has negative consequences, we avoid it. So, example, ang student is sige siya singgit-singgit. So, gibuyag siya sa iyang teacher. Gikasab-an siya kay nagsinggit-singgit siya. So, gikasab-an siya kay basin istorbo sa uban nga nagklase. So, tungod ato, mahuna-hunaan na niya nga dili na siya magsigi og saba-saba o magpabuyag sa iyang teacher aron dili siya makasab-an. So, teacher use stimuli to shape learning. So, kanang stimuli is kanang everything nga makakuha og attention sa mga students, like asking questions or maghatag og mga instruction. So, teacher gives instructions, which is what we call stimuli, and rewards, which is the reinforcement to train the students to respond correctly. So, example, a teacher asks, what is 2 plus 2? So, that's the stimuli. Okay? Katong pag-ask pa lang niya og question is na nakuha na niya ang attention sa mga bata. Then, a student answer 4. That's the response. And the teacher says, good job. Ang katong giingon sa teacher nga good job, that's reinforcement. So, bale, mura siya og makahimo ka og maayo, ginabuhat sa teacher. Dili lang kay kanang So, goal of behaviorist teaching. So, It is to train students to give the right responses by carefully designing lessons with clear instructions, practice, and reinforcement. So, good behaviors are encouraged with rewards, while bad behaviors are discouraged with consequences. So now, let's proceed to the 5 key principles of behaviorism. First is an emphasis on producing observable and measurable outcomes in student, or focus on observable and measurable outcomes. So teachers focus on what student can show or do as proof of learning. So example, instead of just if asking student if they understands multiplication, the teacher checks if the student can correctly solve multiplication problems. So second is the pre-assessment of the student to determine where instruction should begin, or a pre-assessment before teaching. So meaning, before starting the lesson, teachers check what students need to review or can move on to the new lesson. So, example, a math teacher gives a short quiz before siya mag-introduce og new topic to see if students need a review or can move on to new lesson. So, the third one is emphasis on mastering early steps before progressing to more complex levels of performance, or mastering basic skills before moving to the complex ones. Meaning, students must fully understand the basic before siya mag-proceed sa mga lesson nga mas harder pa or mas lisod. So example, in reading, students first learn letter sounds before moving on to the reading full words and sentences. So the fourth one is use of reinforcement to impact performance, or using reinforcement to improve learning. So meaning rewards and feedback is gina-encourage diri student to repeat good behaviors and improve performance. So example, a teacher gives stickers, praise, or extra points to students who complete their assignment on time. So the fifth one is use of cues, shaping the practice to ensure strong stimulus response association, or using cues, shaping, and practice. Cues or hints help guide students toward the correct answer. Shaping means gradually improving skills through step-by-step guidance. So practice helps reinforce learning until it becomes automatic. So example, and handwriting lessons. Teachers first uses tool tracing worksheets. That's the cue. Then let students copy letters on their own. That's shaping. And finally, make them write independently. That's what we call practice. So now let's proceed to the 2 important behaviorist theories, which are Kang Skinner or Kang Killer. First is the Skinner program instruction, which is step-by-step learning with feedback. So, learning happens in small, simple steps, and students must respond correctly before moving to the next step. So, Skinner's programmed instruction is a way of teaching that helps students learn step by step. So, the lesson is broken into small parts, starting with the easy concepts, And then magkadugay is magkalisod na pud siya. So basics to complex. So step-by-step learning. So student learn one small part at a time. So active participation. Students must answer a question or complete an activity before moving to the next step. So kinahanglan pa nila mag-complete og kinahanglan to nila makompleto tong una nila nga gibuhat, aya sila mo proceed sa other na pud nga buhaton. Instant feedback. If they get it right, they move forward. If not, they review it again and try again. So kang killers is students control their own learning speed, but they must master each section before moving forward. So diri is wala sila ga-follow og kanus dapat nimo na mahuman na adlaw or kanus dapat na makatunan nimo. Not dili siya pareho kang skinners kay kinahanglan pa na nimo humanon aya ka mo proceed sa laing program. Dili asa kang killer is less pressure siya, dili wala kanila gina-pressure nga dapat kani nga adlaw makatunan nimo. Dili siya inana. Example, first step is you learn the 5 letters which is A, B, C, D, E. Then sa practice is you write and say them out loud. Pronounce na nimo siya. Then third is check your learning. You take pwede ka mag small quiz if to ensure that kanang na-remember gid nimo tong mga kuan katong una nimo nga gi-learn which is the A, B, C, D, E. Then kung makatuna na to nimo, you can move forward. So if you get it right, you learn the next 5 letters. Then proceed na ka to mahuman na to nimo nga mga ug makatuna na to nimo nga mga lessons. Then the teacher is there to help when needed, but ikaw ang mag-control og how fast or slow you learn. This makes learning easier and less stressful. So next, let's tackle about cognitism. So cognitive theorists emphasize complex cognitive processes like thinking, problem solving, language, and information processing. Cognitive theorists focus on students' learning process, addressing how information is received, organized, stored, and retrieved by the mind. Knowledge acquisition is a mental activity with the learner being an active participant. So, cognitism is a learning theory that focuses on how people think, understand, and also remember information. So instead of just looking at visible actions like behaviorism does, behind learning, it studies that the mental processes such as problem solving, reasoning, and understanding language. So kaning nga theory is nagsuggest ni siya nga learning isn't just about responding to rewards or punishment. Instead, it's about how the brain takes in, organizes, stores, and recalls information. People actively process information rather than just reacting to their environment. So in education, this means that teaching should help students think critically, make connections, and actively engage with the material rather than just memorizing facts. So imagine your brain as a library. When you learn something new, your brain doesn't just store it randomly. So it organizes the information like book on shelves. Make it easier to find and use later. So in simple word, kanang meron siya stock knowledge, kanang dili lang siya basta-basta nga gina set aside. Instead kuan siya gina-store siya sa imong utok o kanang aron next time magamit nimo siya o kinahanglanan nimo. So cognitism and behaviorism both agree that environment plays an important role in learning. Things like explanations, examples, practice, and feedback help students learn. However, the key difference in how they view the learner. So behaviorism sees learning as a reaction to rewards or punishment, focusing on actions we can observe. Then cognitism, on the other hand, looks at what happens inside the mind. It emphasizes thinking, planning, setting goals, and organizing information before taking action. Are key principles of cognitism. First, that's what we call active learning. So active learning is meaning students don't just sit and memorize information. They need to engage with it. This means asking questions, discussing ideas, and solving problems. For example, instead of just listening to a lecture, students might do a group activity to apply what they've learned. So the second one is step-by-step learning or hierarchical analysis. So some skills must be learned before others. If you don't understand basic math, you can't solve complex equations. Example, before learning to write an essay, students first learn to write sentences, then paragraph, and then combine them into an essay. The third one is organizing information for better understanding. So imagine you're trying to read a book where all of the pages are mixed up. It would be very confusing, right? So that's why information needs to be presented in a clear and organized way. So when things are structured properly, it's easier to learn and remember them. So for example, if you're learning about animals, it helps to group them by categories. So, lahi ang mammals, lahi ang birds, reptiles. So you can understand their differences and similarities. So, in school, teacher don't teach multiplication before addition because addition is the foundation needed first. So, the fourth is the connecting new and old knowledge. So, think of learning like building a puzzle. If you already have some pieces, it's easier to add new ones. So when new information is connected to things you already know, it makes learning faster and more meaningful. It makes learning easier. So example, if you already know how to ride a bicycle, learning to ride a motorcycle is easier because you understand balance and steering. So when you are learning new language, so if you already know a similar language, you can recognize common words and grammar patterns. So in simple word, learning is much easier when information is well organized and when new ideas are linked to what you already understand. And that's all, everyone. Thank you.